Lane Jordan Burdett, along with Dr. Lisa Burkhart Worley, and welcome to Pop Talk. It's the show where you never know what topics just might pop up. Have you ever thought you had what it took to be a movie or television star? But maybe you are a little seasoned now and think, well, maybe it's too late. Well, today we're going to speak with a longtime actor and model who is helping people achieve their acting dreams. Lisa has the introduction.
Thank you, Lane. This is such a fun topic today. Our guest is Aaron Marcus. He's been in the acting world for over 40 years. He's booked roles on movies and TV shows like A Man Called Otto. I know you've seen it. Irresistible. We Own This City. He's had a recurring role on House of Cards and Thespian, and he's appeared on Mr. Robot. Aaron has a book called How to Become a Successful Actor and Model. In addition to that, he provides video acting tips on his YouTube channel. So, Aaron, it was just a lot of fun to look at some of those acting clips. And as I watched them, I thought, I know that I've seen you on some of those shows. So, why did you decide to be an actor and how did your great career begin?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure being here. I have a very different kind of story than most actors who grow up from a young age knowing this is what they want to do. They want to be on stage, they want to be in commercials or film and television. That wasn't the case for me at all. I actually decided kind of late in life that I wanted to become a physical therapist. And I had stopped going to college for a while. And when I went back, after volunteering in orthopedic hospitals and shadowing orthopedic surgeons and volunteering in the PT department, after about 300 hours, I decided this is what I want to do in my life. And so I had to go back to school. I took all the sciences that I avoided all my life because they scared me. And I needed a job just to support myself in school. And, most of the time people will do, bartending or waitressing or whatever it is. I didn't want to do that. And so I happened to meet an actor who did TV commercials and he told me what he did. And I thought, this sounds like the perfect part-time job while I'm in school. Once again, no interest in becoming an actor, but just a way to support myself. And I started doing that. And after 2 years of supporting myself, I was actually getting work, which was crazy to me. I decided, after having some dreams of being a very successful physical therapist and not being really happy with what I was doing, and I was just finding this love and joy with acting, and I decided, you know what? I want to try this for 1 year full time, just to see what it's like. And that 1 year has turned into 40 plus years. And it's funny, you put yourself out there and you think and you allow yourself to be influenced in this world and you follow things because I don't believe in coincidences. And so that's what happened. And that's what I've been doing for a very, very long time.
Well, that is such an unusual beginning of an acting career, but mainly you hear about people struggling for years and years and years. So this obviously was exactly what God's purpose for your life was. And I know I've seen you as well, Aaron. When I saw your face, oh, I've seen him on shows. And as I mentioned earlier, I've always wanted to do some acting, but never really got the opportunity. I think it's harder for mothers and wives because we're busy taking care of family. And I just kept thinking, well, maybe I could go to New York or something, but it just never popped up. Is it possible to begin an acting career though, now later in my life? If so, what's your advice to myself and others?
Yeah, and it's really what you experienced is what happens with most people in this world. I do a lot of private mentoring, and for whatever reason, it's mostly women. And I'm thinking that it might be because women seem braver than guys, And they have this, and I hear exactly what you said so many times. I've been doing things for other people. I've been, taking care of my husband, my children. Um, and they get to a point where the kids get older and they say to me, you know what? Now it's time to do something for myself. I want to do something that I never had a chance to do. And the answer is absolutely. Look, are you going to just pick up and move to LA and New York with no experience and think that you're going to be a star? I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but realistically, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. However, you can live in a very small market like I do. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. It's not the hotbed for the industry, but I spent my first 4 years working just in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, and there was work out there. So the trick is number one, getting skilled, study with someone, whether it's locally, whether it's online, make sure this is somebody who's right for you and really knows what they're talking about, and then start reaching out on a local level. And for a lot of people, I find, booking 2 or 3 jobs a year, even if it's just extra work. Maybe there's a film that's coming to town, or a TV show, or a TV commercial. And there's something else that a lot of people never even consider, which I think they should, because I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things that I really enjoy. And it's called commercial modeling. You hear modeling and everybody starts thinking of fashion models walking the runway where women have to be between 5'9" and 6 feet tall, have, very specific measurements. There's a whole other world of modeling out there that has nothing to do with fashion. It's what I do. It's called commercial modeling. These are the real looking people. Now, sometimes they're beautiful, sometimes they're incredibly handsome. I don't happen to be in that category, but when you need a doctor, you need somebody who feels sick, you need a therapist, you need a dad or a grandfather, I'm the guy. And there is lots of work out there for commercial models as well. So the trick is get the right information, be skilled, try to find a local agent if you can, and please go to my website so that you can learn more about how to find legitimate local agents, because unfortunately there are lots of scams out there and you need to know what is right for an agent, what you can expect. If they're asking for certain things, run away. I'll just give you an example really quickly. I know I'm trying to throw a lot of information and cram a lot of information into a short time period. If somebody's asking you for upfront money for representation, run out of there. If somebody's saying, oh, you're going to become a star, run out of there. If someone says, hey, you've got the look, but you've got to spend $3,000 on my classes if you want me to represent you, run out of there. Legitimate agents make their money from taking a percentage of any booking that you get. And look, some agents do offer classes, some agents do offer photographers to take your pictures. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. The union does, and I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, the union. They say if it's a SAG franchised agent, you can't offer classes. My feeling is, look, if they're offering good classes and it's helping their talent, why not? But anyhow, but if they are basically telling you we're not going to represent you unless you take our classes, that's a whole other story. So there's one other thing. You can market yourself even if you don't have an agent. You can go to advertising agencies. You can go to stores in your area. There are lots of ways of trying to find work on your own. It's best to have an agent, but look, I have lots of agents and I still market myself and get work on my own. So if the interest is there, please don't hold back. I knew that after spending about 4 years doing this full time, I felt like I was ready to go to New York. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because you also have to be careful with other people. There are a lot of people in your life who might tell you, are you out of your mind? This makes no sense. You're going to be an actor, really. You're going to be a model at this point in your life. Well, I was hearing that as well, especially when I decided I wanted to test out New York. I knew that I could live with going to New York and not getting any representation, not getting any work. I wouldn't be happy. I could live with that. What I couldn't live with was not trying. because I knew that if I didn't give it a shot, every time I saw a movie, every time I saw a TV show, a commercial modeling ad, I'd always wonder, what if? That I couldn't live with. So this holds true for whatever you want to do in life, not just with acting and modeling. If there's something you want to pursue, do it in a smart way, get the right information, and then go out and give it a shot.
Such great advice. I hope people are taking notes right now. And I wanted to let you know that when I chose to be a television sportscaster, everyone tried to talk me out of it because it just wasn't done. So I think that's really important to go with your gut and go with that burning desire in your heart, and just try it because, like you said, people will, if you don't try it, you're going to have regrets. You're going to wonder if it could have ever been. And so I'm glad I did because I spent 20 years in the business. So but when I was in college, I did act some in some plays. I enjoyed it. And later I auditioned for a television commercial, but I was terrible and I overacted, which I think some people can do. What are some ways, Aaron, to have a good audition?
Yeah, well, that that is the greatest question. And and what you did is what most people do because we are told, especially, let's just talk about TV commercials. TV commercial, what's the purpose? The purpose for the company is to sell products. So what most actors think of is, I want to sell the product. This is great stuff. This is wonderful. This has changed my life. But see, TV commercials, there are two kinds. Lifestyle is the most common. There is a something called a spokesperson where somebody actually is pitching a product. 99 out of 100 doctors say, you take this, you're going to live another 30 years. Okay, so that person is selling. Most commercials, these lifestyle commercials, the biggest mistake actors have is that they try to sell. You don't want to sell in a TV, and I know it's a little counterproductive there, but what you want to do is have a conversation. You want to talk to somebody, and you're going to talk about, yeah, I've been doing this. I've been taking these vitamins. It's changed my life. It's not, I've taken these vitamins and it's changed my, that's silly stuff. So make it conversational. And like with all great acting, whether it's film, television, on stage, commercials, listen to the other person, really hear what they have to say, respond to the other person. But just remember, you're talking to somebody. Allow the viewers to enter your life. They want to see more about what's going on here. And by having this conversation, you are inviting them in. And for you, look, you were a sportscaster for 20 years. I'm sure you've got the skills to do commercials. It's just a matter of getting some of the specific components together and have the right techniques to make it happen.
Well, I love that answer because earlier when you were talking about getting an agent, I used to live in Denver, Colorado, and I actually got an agent and took like a 6 week commercial course and would go on some commercial auditions. But as you can tell, I have a little bit of an accent. And so they said, well, we love your enthusiasm, but your accent won't work. And so then after a few years of that, I didn't really get any work. I got into one, I was an extra for a movie with Andy Garcia, which was so much fun.
Oh, wow.
But then we moved away and then I never got another agent. And so I like that you also mentioned maybe being a model. Now, I want you to go into what that world was like. You hear a lot of negatives, especially from women who have come out of a modeling career. Some of them say they had to starve themselves to be thin enough. I have a feeling your experience was probably different. Can you share your experience, Aaron?
Absolutely. And that's a really good question. Yeah, in the fashion world, it's very different. It's a whole other world. Basically, in the fashion world, the fashion models, the supermodels, they are, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, they are walking coat hangers. Their job is to make the samples that the designers create look interesting. That's what they do. And yet you have to have very specific statistics, heights, looks in order to work as a fashion model. So for that, yeah, you've got to maintain a certain weight and it's hard. And you do hear horror stories from that. What I'm talking about is commercial modeling. There are people who are overweight who get hired, people with great bodies who get hired, people who are tall, people who are short, people with great hair, people with no hair. It all depends on what, the client needs. So if you're interested in modeling, and by the way, if you are over 19, 20, 21 at the latest, and you haven't already made it as a fashion model, once again, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's going to be really tough. You can have an extended career, but you have to start at a pretty young age. Commercial models, I've worked with kids who were 3 months old. I've worked with people in their 80s plus, and everybody in between. And so, matter of fact, I just did one recently. It was for a retirement home. And it was funny. A few years ago, they cast me to be a doctor who goes to this retirement home, and I'm examining some of the patients and I'm patients, sorry, people living at the at this facility and this retirement home. And this time I was one of the guys living in the home. So things have changed a little bit in the past few years. But what they needed was people. We were sitting around playing poker. There, 6 people from this, retirement community. There were people, we were outside sitting by this bonfire. They just needed real looking people. And so I've never experienced the kind of issues in commercial modeling that you do hear about in the fashion world.
Well, that's good. And it sounds like you've found your place in acting and the commercials, the type of commercials. You're honest with yourself about, what you're supposed to be doing now versus what you maybe did 20 years ago. And so it keeps you employed, it keeps you into the commercial. So,
Well,
Aaron,
and that's oh, sorry, I'm,
no, go
I'm sorry
ahead.
for interrupting, but you just brought up such an interesting thing. And I just wanted to tell everybody, look, you have to be very honest with yourself. And sometimes people let their ego get in the way and they want to view themselves as being, the handsome star or the beautiful star in the project. And look, everybody has a different kind of look. And if you fight against that and you try to place yourself in the wrong category, I can tell you you're going to struggle. This might surprise people, but I've never been cast as the guy who's the head of the motorcycle gang. I just don't have that kind of look. So I'm very honest with myself and I know what looks are right for me, what kinds of roles are right for me. And that's not to say that every once in a while something might change a little bit. I might get cast against type sometimes. It's rare that that happens. So whatever your look is, whether you're a little bit overweight or you're underweight, just accept it and use it to your advantage. And just like Lane, you were talking about, your accent, your dialect. Well, yeah, it might keep you out of certain jobs unless you go to a voice coach and, really work on it. But it also puts you into the right category for certain kinds of speaking roles as well.
Well, you do look like a doctor to me. So those doctor roles are perfect, I think, for you, Aaron. Yeah, you have that doctor look. Well, we are a faith-based program, but it seems like you're in the secular acting world. Can strong faith and acting coexist?
Yeah, look, here's the situation. And I do, like you had mentioned earlier, I've done like over 800 workshops. And something that I always stress, no matter what the project is, look, it's hard to turn things down. It is. At least it's been hard for me. And out of nearly 1,300 jobs, I think I've turned down 7 things in my life. But here's the thing, as important for me and for a lot of people as acting is, it's not the most important thing in my life. And I never will do something that I'm going to regret. I'm never going to do something that goes against my morals. And if there's something, whether it's dialogue that you're not comfortable saying, if there are certain scenes that you're not comfortable being a part of, look, you can always ask, hey, would you mind getting a body double for me? Would you mind changing some of the, dialogue for me? Chances are they're not going to do it, but you can always ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. But if for any reason you don't want to be a part of it, thank your agent for submitting you and say no, because you never want to look back and regret something that you did. So, yes, you can have faith. You can do things in this world. It doesn't matter how religious you are, and just stay true to your faith. And if it's something you're comfortable with, then you say yes. And if it's not, then you say no.
Oh my, I love that answer. That gives many people probably, because it gives me so much hope that there are other things more important. I really love how you said, take the acting with the commercials that you know you'll be proud of. And I also, one thing I really love about reading about you is that you are helping others who want to act through your book and your YouTube channel. Your book, I know, has helped so many people, and the testimonials have been very positive. One person said it was, quote, the best primer to get started as an actor. And another said that it was, quote, cookbook for acting and modeling. Now, what made you decide to write a book, and can you summarize some of the topics that you cover in this wonderful book?
Sure. So the shorter version, actually, yeah, you're really touching me with some of what you're saying. Something that I have learned is that when I was thinking about going to physical therapy, it was because I love the idea of helping other people. And I also have found that with what I do, look, it's not, I'm not physically helping somebody, but anyhow, the point that I'm trying to get to is I love sharing information, helping others, whether it's with my book. I put it together just because I I people would constantly email me, call me, ask me questions, which I love doing. I found that I couldn't give them everything that I wanted to give. So I decided, let me write a book, and that will help people. I can really put everything in there that I want to put. So some of the chapters, it's how to get started, how to find an agent, how to put together headshots, how to put together the right kind of lighting so that when you are asked to audition and you have to shoot your audition from home, you can make it look great, you can make it sound great. Just essential information that a lot of it is not taught in acting schools. Learning about the business end of acting, learning about how to market yourself and find work on your own, how to interview a photographer before you decide on which photographer should be shooting your headshot. So the reason for putting it together is I knew it could help a lot of people. And just with the way that I was brought up in this world, it's all about trying to help others have a better life in this world. And I feel very fortunate to be in a position where I can continue to do that.
It's the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And you're doing that, Aaron. And you offer so much expertise through your YouTube channel. You've got something like 500 videos, maybe over that, filled with your insights, drawn from your experience. You cover topics like 5 powerful reasons for turning down acting jobs. I like that. And help protect the world. Act in training films. People probably just forget about training films. So I'm curious, what could actually sabotage your acting career?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that people do, and sometimes it's done by very talented actors, not not being prepared, not showing up on time, not returning phone calls, not returning emails, um, acting out on a set. You're not happy and you don't know how to deal with other people. There are lots of things that people do that get them buried, even though they might be incredibly talented. I can tell you, I'm not the most talented guy in the world, but I'm a professional. People can count on me. And when I show up to do something, I will give it 100%.
Yeah, I love that. I can tell that by just talking to you, and I think I know God honors when we want to use our lives in excellence. Another topic you address is 5 secrets that got me nearly 1,300 acting jobs. Could you share a couple of those secrets with our audience? I'm sure that after learning about a couple, they will want to navigate to your YouTube channel for all the other secrets.
Yeah, well, number one, if you want to be an actor, you have to put together an effective headshot, one that represents you well, one that allows people to see immediately how you should be submitted, what kind of roles are right for you. Get training. You've got to know what you're doing. I started off without any training, and after a couple of years, I quickly learned if I really want to have success in the industry, I have to take classes, I have to study with people privately, and I still will take a private session here and there. Be respectful to others and be humble and continue to surround yourself with the people who you trust, people who you know, and don't let your ego get in the way. We're all humans here. Look, acting and modeling, yes, it's important. We're not curing cancer. We're not solving world problems. And once again, I'm not dismissing the importance of the entertainment industry, but just remember there are other people out in this world who are doing really amazing things that are changing the world. And yeah, me being saved by Tom Hanks in A Man Called Otto, so I'm not run over by a train. It was great, but I'm not changing the world.
Okay, since you brought that up, we only have a short little bit of time. But Aaron, what was it like to work with Tom Hanks? And can you give some advice on how to work with A-list actors?
Yeah, well, he is one of the most incredible humans I've ever met. He is incredibly humble. It was very cold outside. We're on a train platform. He's walking around to all the extras, just saying, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate how hard you're working." And I learned a lot from being around him. Just treat people like regular people. These people might be famous, they might be incredibly wealthy, but they're human beings. And so treat them with the same kind of respect that you would want to be treated with as well.
And Aaron, thank you so much for sharing about your acting and your work to help other actors. Aaron's website is howtoactandmodel.com. And you can find his YouTube channel by just clicking on the link for his YouTube channel on his website. His book is called How to Be a Successful Actor and Model, and you can find that on Aaron's website and Amazon. And you can sign up to be on Aaron's special email list and receive free industry information by visiting his website, howtoactandmodel.com. And you can follow him on Instagram at Aaron R. Marcus. Aaron R. Marcus.
Well, we would love for all of you to connect with us here at Pop Talk and Pearls of Promise. You can email us at info@pearlsofpromiseministries.com, and you can like us on Facebook and follow us on X at Pop Talk Media or at Pearls of Promise. And we're on Instagram at Pop_Ministries and on X at Pop Talk Media. Please check out our YouTube channel where you can watch all our past Pop Talk award-winning television and radio shows, as well as our award-winning documentaries. And you might want to purchase, we hope, our award-winning devotional book that Lisa and I authored called Treasure, a Pearls of Promise Ministry 52-week devotional. And that's available on Amazon.
So that is our show for today. We're just ordinary girls
Who God turned into pearls. Have a wonderful week.